This program is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure any illness. Please speak with your doctor when starting a new health program.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Wellness Talk. This is George Batista, your nutrition and health consultant. And this is always the show that goes over the latest in health and healing, nutrition, fitness, and all the cool things we can do on the alternative side, by the way, to help us take responsibility for our health so we don't have to leave it in the hands of doctors and folks that just want to manage disease and, illnesses and that type of thing. So, today we're going to be discussing a couple of things. The first one is, what is the best mineral to deal with blood sugar? We're going to be talking about chromium and the importance of having chromium in your diet, how you can get it, what happens if you don't have enough, and what are the best resources to get it. Also going to be talking to you about back pain. We know there's so many people in America, all around the world really, but in America in particular, who suffer from back pain. And I'm going to give you my solution, what has helped me throughout the years. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to help my pain and, kind of give you my story so you guys can have a frame of reference. And, those of you who are dealing with severe back issues and stuff like that, because there are solutions out there. So I want to kind of just give you some tips and tools on, things that can help you. So, but before we go any further, it's going to, kind of do some housekeeping. If you want to see any of these articles, you can go to platinumnutritionals.com. That's the company. All the articles are on the website. Or you can go to the Facebook page. Again, Platinum Nutritionals is the Facebook page. If you have any questions for me, and by the way, I am going to be taking questions moving forward. So those of you who have questions and, you want to submit them to me, I will answer them online for you. I'll answer them actually on this podcast. So, so if you have any questions for me, you can go to the email address is support@platinumnutritionals.com. Again, that's support@platinumnutritionals.com. Those of you who are listening on YouTube, if you could just please click the thumbs up button if you like what you hear. This way that helps us make sure we bring you more content and, get some good stuff going forward. So, all right, so let's get right into this week's information. So the first article is from Wellness Resources, Linda Doberstein, and this is an article on chromium, and it's called Chromium, a Trace Mineral for Blood Sugar and Carbohydrate Cravings. Now, so let's go into a little bit of backstory about chromium and what it's all about and what it can do. So chromium is, first of all, is a trace mineral, and it's been recognized for many, many decades in its role of blood sugar management and insulin function. It was actually discovered almost about 100 years ago, and there's two different types of chromium. Okay, there's what's called, there's two major types of chromium. The first type is chromium 3, and then there's another type called chromium 6. Now, chromium 3 is the biologically active form, which is found in food and found in supplements. Now, there is food that contains this mineral. Okay, now those of you who follow me know that I am a huge proponent of vitamins and minerals. Not only getting them from your diet, but getting them through supplements, because vitamins and minerals are the key to making sure things in your body run properly. Okay, making sure, because those vitamins and minerals are cofactors to things that, to enzymes and things that in your body run properly, whether it's blood sugar, blood pressure, all different types of things. So this is what our body runs on. Okay, now the body needs vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids to operate correctly. And if you don't have those things, or if you have too little of those things, it's just a matter of time before things start to break. It's just a matter of time before you start to get issues, okay? So, chromium is no different. Now, there's many, food sources of chromium. So things like mushrooms, liver, potatoes, beef, fresh vegetables, all different types of foods like that contain good amounts of chromium. And now, things like high sugar foods and dairy do not contain much chromium at all. Now, keep in mind also that high cooking temperatures and food processing actually takes chromium out of your food. And this is the issue I have with when people say they want to get most of their nutrients or all of their nutrients through food. You have to understand, unless you're eating a raw diet, if you're going to cook your food, that is part of the issue. Unfortunately, cooking food actually leaches a lot of those, minerals out of the food. So chromium is one of those that your body needs a certain amount. And if you think you're just going to get it from food, unfortunately, it's not always possible, especially with the Western diet, especially with how our guts are these days and how people are not absorbing properly. So, that's an issue. So just to kind of give you an example of levels of chromium that are found in food. So, for example, half a cup of broccoli contains 11 micrograms of chromium, okay? Beef contains 3 ounces of beef contains 2.0 micrograms of chromium. Okay, turkey breasts 3 ounces contains 1.7 micrograms of chromium, and a banana, one medium banana, contains 1 microgram of chromium. Now, I'm going to compare that to what people need. So anyone ages 14 and older needs at least 21 to 25 micrograms of chromium. Okay, so think about it. Think about those levels that I just said in those foods. Okay, so you've got to eat a lot of those foods just to get the recommended daily value of chromium. So think about that when you want to get those minerals in. Now, let's talk about how chromium works, because I'm sure a lot of people have, they want to know why chromium is so important. Chromium works in your body by attaching to a peptide, which is a carrier protein that binds into insulin receptors throughout the body, okay? And this activity creates insulin sensitivity, or kind of a mimicking effect within the cells, which aids in blood sugar management. So basically what it does is it attaches to your cells and actually makes your cells more receptive to insulin. People who have blood sugar problems, what happens, especially type 2 diabetes, they start out with becoming insulin resistant, right? And then eventually end up in full-fledged, type 2 diabetes. So chromium actually enhances the internalization and activation of insulin into the cells. It also supports the pancreatic beta cells sensitivity. And beta cells, we know from the pancreas, is what makes insulin in the first place. So chromium enhances all these things. Very, very important. And again, think about this. Without chromium, these things aren't happening. All right? So blood sugar, right? Blood sugar is going to start to go off the charts. Now, just a couple of things. It was a 2014 meta-analysis of 25 randomized controlled trials that evaluated the effects of chromium on blood sugar metabolism. They found that chromium intake assisted with fasting blood sugar, HDL, and triglyceride metabolism. So it's not just the blood sugar. It also affects HDL, which is, the carrier proteins of cholesterol, and triglyceride metabolism. We all know the triglycerides is how much fat you have in your blood. So chromium helps cholesterol metabolism, insulin sensitivity, and decreases, that in and of itself will decrease cardiovascular stress. Okay, very important. All right. We also know that chromium supports your brain and your blood sugar metabolism and your mood. Your muscles, your liver, your kidney contain the highest concentrations of chromium. So it is also found in other tissues and organs like the hypothalamus in your brain. So we all know that the brain's primary, unless you're on a ketogenic diet, but that's a whole nother story, typically the brain's primary fuel for most people is blood sugar. So chromium's effect on blood sugar and fat metabolism and insulin sensitivity impacts the hypothalamus, okay? And these effects in turn support the production of serotonin, which also support the production of melatonin, okay, helps you sleep, and things like neuroepinephrine, okay, which in turn supports a positive mood. So again, think about it. Chromium not only affects all these issues, but affects your mental state, affects your mood, your sleeping, all this stuff. So, again, the human body ties all this together, okay? If you don't have enough chromium, these things are not happening. So how do we get chromium? Again, not only in the foods that I mentioned, okay, and eating those foods would be a good idea. Again, the broccolis and, the lettuce, the green beans, the tomatoes, the bananas, these things contain a good amount of chromium, okay? But my suggestion would be to get it, not only most multivitamins will have a certain amount of chromium in them, but if you're dealing with a blood sugar issue at this moment, I would suggest you actually get on a chromium supplement or a supplement that contains enough chromium, okay? Supplemental chromium tends to range and affects between 100 micrograms to 1,000 micrograms, depending on which supplement you get. My suggestion, as always, is Wellness Resources. That is the main company that I support. And they have a wonderful supplement that helps with blood sugar management and cravings, by the way. It's called Lepti Slim. And this supplement actually contains 200 micrograms of the chromium type 3, which is the chromium that is bioavailable. And it also contains a few other things in that supplement, but is a wonderful supplement for those dealing with not only need help with blood sugar, with cravings, they want to reduce cravings, they want to, this can be added to your weight loss regimen, okay? But this also helps with blood sugar in general. It helps with a healthy metabolism and also helps with thyroid, okay? Because remember, metabolism and weight management also work together with your thyroid. And we'll do more shows on that type of stuff going forward. So check out Lepti Slim from Wellness Resources. I would definitely suggest you, if you're dealing with any blood sugar issues. But of course, also this, it goes without saying that if you're dealing with blood sugar issues, you also want to exercise, maintain a good diet. That's also going to play a part in blood sugar management or diabetes management, okay? Very, very important. To me, those are the three keys, okay? That is working out, chromium, making sure you have enough of the minerals in general, especially chromium, and having a good diet. You do those things, you're on your way to healthy blood sugar management. So, check it out. That's our chromium, that's our supplement highlight for the day. Next, let's talk a little bit about back pain. So I'm going to go into a little bit of my history just so you guys know, okay? Many of you know that I dealt with a lot of health issues in my past, and I cleaned the majority of them up and to the point where they're not issues anymore. One of the ones was severe back pain. So in my late 20s, early 30s, many of you who know me know I was a professional musician for many, many years, a drummer. And keep in mind that when you're a musician and you're a drummer, if you don't have good posture on that, and you're rocking and rolling behind that drum set, it can wear your back down very quickly. And that's exactly what happened to me. Mine was a combination of sports injuries, bad posture, sitting a lot, just a lot of different things which made my back muscles weak, which in turn caused a lot of weak discs, which eventually caused me to develop spondylolisthesis, which is where your discs are actually slipping forward. And it also caused spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spinal column. Now, what happened with me was that it got to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. There were some days where I was in such pain. It was lower back pain where I couldn't get out of bed. It was terrible. I went to specialists. They looked at my x-rays and took MRIs and that type of thing. We're talking, this was maybe, 15 to 20 years ago, by the way. And the specialist did tell me, well, you don't need surgery. Oh, I don't recommend surgery because back surgery is, you have a 50-50 shot with that working. But I do recommend physical therapy, and I do recommend strengthening your back and pain medication. Now, even at that time, I wasn't going to take pain medication because I know what pain medication can do and how it can become addictive, how all those pain medications are actually cartilage. They actually wear down cartilage, and they break down the building blocks of cartilage if you use them too much. So I had to find another way. So I started to do things like yoga, which helped a little bit. And I did yoga for many years, but I still wasn't getting the results that I wanted. It's interesting because there's an old saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, in my life came a gentleman named Dr. Eric Goodman. Okay, Dr. Eric Goodman. I've never met the man, by the way, but he did come into my life because I saw an interview with him, with another famous physician named Dr. McCullough. This gentleman, Dr. Eric Goodman, a little backstory on him. He is a chiropractor, and he was a weightlifter when he was young. He was surfing. He did a lot. He was athletic, very much into weightlifting. Big gentleman. But he suffered from severe back problems, very severe back problems throughout his time going through chiropractic school. So he realized that his back was very weak. So he kind of went back to the drawing board. And again, I'm not doing his life justice, by the way, as far as his background, but I'll just kind of give you an oversimplification of his background. He did some major research on body mechanics and biomechanics and how the body actually works. And what he found was so interesting was that the posterior chain of the body, which is the back side of the body, the back muscles of the body, are just as important as the front side of the body. And what ends up happening is a lot of people who work out tend to ignore that back side of the body. Okay? What he found was that was just as much of the core of the body as you would think of your abdominals or your midsection. So what he did, he started to develop exercises that strengthened the posterior chain or the backside of the body. Specifically, these exercises they didn't have anything to do with weights or anything like that. These were exercises that were body weight exercises that you literally can do. Now, when I saw the interview and I realized what he was saying, and I realized also that what he was saying was completely different than what you hear a lot of the personal trainers out there saying, and a lot of, literally he went against the grain. I was like, he got me intrigued. So I really started to hone in on his exercises. And another thing he realized, and again, this is something that a lot of people don't think about, right? When you bend forward, most people bend forward and they bend at the lower back, which actually contributes to back problems. They round their back when they bend. And obviously your lower back has to pick up the weight of the rest of your body. Well, what he realized was that's really the wrong way to bend. You're actually supposed to bend at your hip. And at your hip and go down, because then your hip is strong enough to take the weight of the rest of the body. This was completely, blew me away. This stuff completely blew me away because it was, again, completely opposite of what you're used to hearing. So I started to do these exercises, and there's many of them on YouTube. He has definitely some free videos on YouTube. But he developed a system called foundation training. And again, this foundation training is a program of exercises that you can do 10 to 15 minutes per day at home that helps to strengthen those muscles. Now, I've been doing this program for religiously, probably since 2000, I want to say 2011, 2012. Now, keep in mind, 2008, 2009 is around there was when I was really, really bad having back problems. I started doing this around 2011, 2012, and I just said to myself, you know what, what do I have to lose? 10 minutes a day to do this? I mean, I do other stupid things 10 minutes a day. Might as well try this, right? So I started to do this every day. There was pain, and the pain started to lessen. Little by little, it started to lessen. And eventually, the pain went away. I mean, literally, I had no pain. And I can honestly tell you that as of talking to you today, I have very little, if not no back pain at all. I had very bad sciatica, where the pain used to come down my leg. That's gone. I had lower back pain every time I sat or every time I got up from a chair. That's gone. That pain would radiate all the way up even into my upper back. I would turn a certain way and I could feel it, like almost like a pinched nerve. That's gone. Now my daughter's in sports. I throw the ball with her. I run around. I teach her how to, hit a softball. I teach her how to shoot a basketball. I can play a full game of basketball pain-free because I've been doing these exercises every single day for years. And I can honestly tell you now, this works. Now, is it going to work 100% for everybody? Probably not. But even if it works a little bit, even if it alleviates some of your pain, I would definitely check this out. It's called Foundation Training. And again, the gentleman's name is Dr. Eric Goodman. And I tell you, it's that this program for me personally has been a godsend. And by the way, I'm not getting paid to say this. I have no financial ties to him at all. This is just a public service that I'm doing because I know a lot of people suffer from it. And I recommend this to a lot of people, friends and family, clients that have dealt with this, because it can be debilitating. I mean, I know people who have gone into, have had hip replacements and knee replacements because their back was terrible, who've had back surgery and it didn't turn out well. So I suggest you guys take a look at this. Again, Foundation Training. I think you can go to foundationtraining.com where you can get all this information. Definitely take a look at this because it really is a game changer for many people. It changed my life. He absolutely changed my life where I can pretty much, I can do most of the stuff that I want to do. I'm not saying that I'm 100%, like I was 20 years old, obviously, because I'm not. I do wake up in the morning with a little bit of stiffness, but that's to be expected when you have problems. But I can tell you, I can go through my day with pain-free. When I do my exercises, they're nice and loose. And the exercises are based off of what's called a founder. That is the basic principle exercise that he teaches. But then there's so many other exercises and his exercises are taught in a certain way. They're taught to follow one another to be able to give you the most benefit. Okay? And I mean, you can kind of equate it a little bit to yoga. It's kind of like yoga because there is another element of it called decompression breathing, which is basically deep, like diaphragmatic breathing that actually helps with decompression of the spine. And this is also just as important in his program as the actual exercises themselves. So just a little tip for you guys. Again, anyone dealing with back problems, definitely check this out. It's called Foundation Training. I do have a link on the Facebook page if you guys want to check them out. Again, I'm not getting paid to say this. This is just something that was incredible for me, and it worked. I hope you guys can get a benefit out of this as well. Okay? So check it out. Other than that, that's our show for today. Hope you guys got some valuable information out of this. And again, feel free to email me if you're getting value out of this, or if you have a question you want me to answer the questions on this program, I can definitely do that for you. It's support@platinumnutritionals.com. And other than that, I hope everyone has a great week. Hope you guys are staying healthy and happy and doing all the things to take responsibility for your health. Until next time, everyone, stay healthy. Take care. Bye-bye now.